In the cryptic labyrinth of international intrigue, there exists a tale that stands out. Not just for its chilling audacity, but also for its bewildering complexity. It's the assassination of Kim Jong-nam, the exiled half-brother of North Korea's enigmatic leader, Kim Jong Un. This audacious act of murder, executed in broad daylight amidst the hustle and bustle of an international airport, serves as a stark reminder of the extreme lengths regimes will traverse to stifle dissent. Yet as we delve deeper into this narrative, we unearth a plot that is as much about human manipulation as it is about political power. At the heart of this chilling assassination lies an element so bizarre it almost defies belief: a YouTube prank. A seemingly harmless prank, the kind that garners laughs and shares on social media, was the catalyst for an event that sent shockwaves across the globe. Join us as we unravel this intricate tale, where the line between the virtual world of pranks and the harsh reality of political power games blurs, leaving us questioning the very nature of truth in our digital age. In the bustling Kuala Lumpur International Airport, amidst the throng of travelers and the hum of anticipation, a man stood alone. Kim Jong-nam, the exiled half-brother of North Korea's leader, went unnoticed by the crowd. His gaze was fixed on the departures board, his mind perhaps on his destination, the resort island of Langkawi. As he sauntered towards the AirAsia self-check-in kiosk, the clock struck 8:59 a.m. on February 13, 2017. Suddenly, a woman in stylishly torn jeans and a gray sleeveless top emerged from the crowd. With a playful peekaboo, she covered his eyes, her hands leaving an oily smear on his face. Her apology was swift, her disappearance into the crowd swifter. Before Jong-nam could react, a second woman wearing a white jumper emblazoned with LOL threw her arms over his shoulders. Her hands, too, left a trail on his face, her apology echoing the first's. Then she was gone, swallowed by the crowd. Unbeknownst to Jong-nam, the women had smeared his face with VX, a potent nerve agent classified as a weapon of mass destruction by the United Nations. The lethal dose, possibly as small as a drop, was rapidly absorbed, causing his muscles to contract uncontrollably. Confused and in pain, Jong-nam sought help. He bypassed the bathroom, his only chance to wash off the poison, and instead approached the information desk. His words were a desperate plea. Very painful, I was sprayed liquid. His voice was a mere whisper against the cacophony of the airport. 3 policemen, more engaged in conversation than their duties, led him to the airport medical clinic. By now, Jong-nam's body was betraying him. His knees stiffened, his feet dragged, and his breaths came in ragged gasps. The nerve agent was wreaking havoc, pushing his respiratory system and heart to their limits. In the sterile brightness of the clinic, Jong-nam collapsed into a chair. His body convulsed with seizures, his breaths shallow and labored. Nurses rushed to his aid, fixing him to an oxygen tank, but the poison was relentless. As he was stretchered to an ambulance, paramedics detected a faltering heartbeat. En route to the hospital, it flatlined. Just over 15 minutes had passed since the encounter at the check-in kiosk. The swift apprehension of the 2 women involved in the audacious assassination of Kim Jong-nam was as shocking as the crime itself. Their defense? They were mere pawns in a game they didn't understand, tricked into believing they were part of a reality TV show prank. The prank involved smearing lotion on the faces of unsuspecting victims, a claim that video evidence seemed to support. Their casual handling of the deadly nerve agent VX suggested they were oblivious to its lethal nature. Siti Aisyah of Indonesia and Don Thuy Huong of Vietnam were the unlikely perpetrators of this international incident. Aisyah, a school dropout and a mother, had previously worked in a clothing factory, a restaurant, and a spa. She dreamed of escaping the clutches of poverty and leading a better life. Huang, on the other hand, was an aspiring actress who had once auditioned for Vietnam's version of Pop Idol. Her dreams were of fame and recognition. In a startling revelation, Aissa described her recruitment by men she believed to be producers of a prank TV show. They had her carry out pranks that involved rubbing baby oil on strangers' faces, promising her stardom on YouTube with viral videos. In an interview, Aissa recounted her training with the producers. They paid her as much as $200 each time she performed the baby oil smearing prank, a sum significantly larger than what she earned as a masseuse. She admitted to initial nervousness about the pranks, fearing adverse reactions from the victims. However, the promise of a better life and the assurance that Japanese audiences loved such content convinced her to continue. The reality, however, was far more sinister. The men, suspected to be North Korean secret agents, were grooming Aissa and Hwang for a deadly mission: the assassination of Kim Jong Un's half-brother, Kim Jong-nam. The fatal act, carried out at Kuala Lumpur International Airport, mirrored the pranks the women had been practicing. Following the attack, both Aissa and Hwang fled in different directions, instinctively washing the sticky liquid off their hands in separate washrooms. This act, seemingly insignificant at the moment, would later prove to be a lifesaver. Kim Jong-nam, the eldest son of former North Korean leader Kim Jong-il, was once considered the heir apparent to his father's leadership. Born to the country's beloved actress Song Hye-rim, his birth was kept a secret due to his father's non-traditional family setup. Jong-nam lived a life of luxury and privilege, educated in Switzerland and fluent in several languages. However, his fortunes changed dramatically following a failed attempt to visit Tokyo Disneyland using a forged passport in 2001. Exiled and living primarily in Macau, he became a vocal critic of his half-brother's regime, advocating for reform and opening up of North Korea. Despite objections from North Korean diplomats, an autopsy was performed on Kim Jong-nam's body. The procedure was carried out at the Kuala Lumpur Hospital mortuary, revealing that Kim's vital organs, including his lungs, brain, liver, and spleen, were affected by poison. Further tests on Kim's urine indicated exposure to an insecticide or nerve agent, while pupil constriction and other physical signs suggested poisoning. The autopsy was completed on March 10th, confirming the deceased as Kim Jong-nam, based on DNA provided by his son Kim Han-sol. The body was then handed over to the Ministry of Health, who gave Kim's family 2 to 3 weeks to claim it. However, the family declined to take the body and gave permission to the Malaysian authorities to manage the remains. Despite objections from Kim Han-sol, the body was flown to Pyongyang on March 31st. Kim Jong-nam's personal items, initially submitted for analysis, were returned to officials from the North Korean embassy. The narrative took another twist when it was revealed that Kim Jong-nam was traveling under the pseudonym Kim Chol. His backpack contained approximately $100,000 in cash, and he was carrying 4 North Korean passports, all bearing the name Kim Chol. The discovery added another layer of mystery to an already complex tale. Following the incident, the international community was aghast. The audacious assassination, the use of a banned chemical weapon, and the apparent manipulation of 2 innocent women created a maelstrom of outrage. But the intrigue was far from over. 4 North Korean suspects had been at the airport on the day of the assassination. They left Malaysia shortly after the murder and returned to Pyongyang, escaping arrest. Other North Koreans were detained but were later released without charge. The incident sparked a diplomatic dispute between Malaysia and North Korea, with both countries temporarily barring each other's citizens from leaving. The standoff was eventually resolved, but the incident left a lasting scar on diplomatic relations. The high-profile murder trial of Siti Aissa and Don Thi Huang, charged with the assassination of Kim Jong-nam, commenced on October 2, 2017, in Shah Alam, Selangor, Malaysia. Both women pleaded not guilty, with Judge Datuk Amzi Arifin presiding over the case. The trial was marked by a series of revelations. A government chemist testified that VX degradation products were found on the 2 women, providing the first link between them and the nerve agent. However, the claims of North Korean authorities that Kim died of a heart attack were disputed by pathologist Mohammed Shah Mahmood, who found no evidence of a heart attack and attributed death solely to VX poisoning. The court heard that Kim had very low blood levels of cholinesterase, an enzyme inhibited by agents such as VX. However, the levels were within the normal range for both defendants, which did not rule out their contact with VX. A specialist in poisons testified that VX may not be fatal in very low dosages, and that washing it off with soap and water may not fully decontaminate a person. The trial was moved to a high-security laboratory due to the danger posed by the nerve agent-tainted clothing admitted into evidence. The police investigator identified 4 suspects in the CCTV images, but they were not arrested due to insufficient information. The trial resumed in January 2018, with the judge ruling that certain CCTV records could not be admitted as evidence. The defense lawyers argued that their clients were scapegoats and they didn't know that they were handling poison. They also criticized the Malaysian investigators for not allowing them to meet Aisa during her 14-day remand and not releasing portions of the video linked to the attack. Closing arguments began on June 27, 2018, and the trial was set to continue until April of 2019. The judge stated that a political assassination could not be ruled out, but there was not enough evidence to confirm this. In a surprising turn of events, Siti Aisa was released in March 2019 after her murder charge was dismissed. This was due to a request letter sent by the Indonesian government, which was responded to by Malaysian Attorney General Tommy Thomas. However, similar requests from the Vietnamese government to release Don Thi Huang were rejected, and the trial was postponed due to Huang's poor health and psychological condition. On April 1, 2019, the murder charge against Don Thi Huang was dismissed. Instead, she entered a guilty plea to reduce the charge of voluntarily causing harm using dangerous weapons or means. Consequently, she was handed down a sentence of 3 years and 4 months behind bars. However, her term was reduced by 1/3, leading to her release on May 3, 2019. The assassination of Kim Jong-nam is a chilling tale of power, manipulation, and the unseen shadows of international politics. It's a story that reminds us of the human cost of political machinations. 2 women, lured into a deadly game under the guise of harmless pranks, found themselves at the center of an international incident. A man living in exile and critical of his half-brother's regime paid the ultimate price for his outspokenness. Yet the story of Kim Jong-nam's assassination is not just about the act itself. It's about the aftermath, the diplomatic fallout, the strained relations, and the quest for justice. It's about the manipulation of innocent individuals in the pursuit of political power. And it's a stark reminder of the lengths to which regimes will go to silence dissent. As we reflect on this audacious act of violence, we're left with more questions than answers. Who were the real puppet masters behind the assassination? How deep does the rabbit hole of international intrigue go? And perhaps most importantly, what does this incident tell us about the state of global politics and the value of human life? The assassination of Kim Jong-nam remains a significant event due to its audacious nature, the use of a banned chemical weapon, and the ongoing international implications. It's a story that continues to resonate, a chilling reminder of the unseen shadows of power that shape our world.